Let me begin with the story. Venerable Ananda, the chief attendant of the Lord Buddha, for many years, Venerable Ananda was like a shadow of the Buddha. He was there, always with him. Since he was in the presence of the Buddha all the time, he got to hear, listen, what the Buddha taught. All the teachings, all the instructions of meditations, everything what the Buddha said came to the ears of Venerable Ananda. And he had this fantastic memory that he remembered everything that he heard. Everything he heard with context, to whom, in which place, on what occasion, everything was memorized by Venerable Ananda. A photographic memory. Of course, Buddha passed away at the age of 80, and after the passing, Venerable Mahakashyapa and all those senior monks gathered together, and they had this discussion, we better get this Dhamma into an order. Right now the Dhamma is strewn everywhere, like the flowers in an altar. Dhamma is everywhere. For the long-lasting effect, we need to get this Dhamma to an order. So they came to this conclusion and decided to hold the first council, Sanghayana. And for this council, they decided that they invite only the Arahants. Arahants with the complete knowledge, ability to understand and ability to analyze the teachings of the Buddha. Only those Arahants are invited for this Sanghayana, the council. They selected 499 members of the Arahants. They left one seat vacant because they needed Venerable Ananda in the midst of this group, for he is the one who remembered everything what the Buddha said. But unfortunately, Venerable Ananda was not enlightened by that time. He was not an Arahant. He was just a mere Sotapanna, stream enterer. So Venerable Mahakashyapa requested, kind of a command, you better become an Arahant before we begin the council. Yeah? Because unless you become an Arahant, you cannot be involved in this council. So Venerable Ananda gave up everything and started practicing. He thought, must have an ego, right? I know all what the Buddha said. I know all the instructions, meditation instructions that the Buddha gave. I know when those meditators, when they come with questions, when they come with problems, obstacles in their practices, I know how Buddha solved them. I know how Buddha gave an answer to them. So I know everything about this Dhamma. So becoming an Arahant is nothing for me. I know everything. Dhamma is something like on my palm. So he started practicing with that eagerness, with that immense longing in his heart to be enlightened as fast as possible, as soon as possible. He was practicing diligently day in, day out, burning midnight oil, no sleeping, Days passed by, weeks passed by, and months passed by. He's not enlightened. And came the eve of the council. Tomorrow the council begins. Now he is not enlightened yet. Now he got disappointed. He's disillusioned. He's disappointed with his practice. He thought, oh no, Nibbana is not for me. I might have a fantastic memory, but not the Nibbana. Nibbana is not for me. Gave up the practice. It is not just giving up the practice, he gave up that immense longing, immense desire in his heart to be enlightened. He gave up, washed his feet, sat down on the bed. Now, just reflect on this posture. His head did not touch the pillow yet, and his feet was raising from the ground. His head is still to touch the pillow. See the posture? In that posture, he got enlightened. He is the only Arahant who got enlightened in that posture. Historical event. How come? Someone so intelligent, someone so close to Buddha, who knew everything what the Buddha said without any mistake, couldn't get enlightened as long as he is practicing so immensely. Yeah? Why? What was obstructing him? What was hindering his Nibbana?
Ego.
Not just ego. His desire. Desire for what? Desire for Nibbana. He had no idea his very desire for liberation, his very longing for Nibbana is the one obstructing him from achieving it. If you are desiring, it doesn't matter what you are desiring, whether it is heaven, whether it is Nibbana, whether it is a mundane or a supramundane, it doesn't matter. You are desiring. That very desiring is the obstacle. That's why in a Zen story I heard that they say, if you happen to meet the Buddha in your practice on the progress, better kill him. Of course, we know now it is not talking about killing the Buddha personally or physically, right? It is not murdering him. It is saying, if you happen to generate an unnecessary Shraddha, unnecessary attachment to the Buddha in your practice, better get rid of it. Or else, that very attachment could be your hindrance. Attachment is attachment. It doesn't matter to what you are attached. Now you can see the desiring mind is something very cunning. You get rid of one desire and it comes from another door and still put you in a trap without letting you go. So desiring is not something that easily overcome, that easily get rid of. And this desiring is so overwhelming us from the top to bottom and in the depth in our being that desiring persists. The roots of the desires are so deep within us and its foliage is kind of covering us totally. Now, the grossest form of desire are where we are. The desire for sense pleasures. Since the 6 divine realms, human realms and 4 hellish realms, these are the realms of desire, karma loka, realms of desire. We are born because of that desire. We are here because of that desire and we die without being able to fulfill that desire. thinking that maybe in the next life I may be, not here, maybe in one of the heavens I can be fulfilled by fulfilling the desires. Yeah. But you are bound to be disillusioned, you are bound to be disappointed, because in this human history, no one has ever fulfilled their desires. Everybody has died in that pursuit of fulfilling, being disappointed. Being disappointed, they are dead. So those people who get frustrated with these desires, who get fed up with this, they tend to go in within them and to concentrate and to meditate and to practice their inner being, develop their inner spirituality. Those individuals, they suppress their desires. Remember, they don't get rid of, they suppress their desires. And with that suppression, they get a certain kind of peace and happiness, a certain kind of joy in their being, which is an independent one. Independent desire, independent happiness and joy they experience, and they are so attached to it. And those people who suppress their desires but attached to the peace and happiness and attached to this body, they are to be born in the Rupa Vachara Brahmanams. And those who go further than that, even they got rid of the attachment to the physicality, attachment to this corporeal body, they are to be born in the Arupa Vachara, formless Brahmanams. And those individuals who understood, who thought that mind is the trouble, mind is the problem, mind is the creator of misery, and they practiced to kill the mind, kill its manifestation, kill its function. They are to be born in the Asanya Satta, where the mind is dead and the body is there like a statue. All these belong to the realms called mundane realm. Because why? The residue of attachments, desires are still there. Remember, even for those individuals who are practicing for so long, got rid of the attachment for the body, got rid of the attachment for the mind by suppressing, not removing, by suppressing, they are still belong to this mundane realms. They are still belong to the world. They are not beyond the word or lokuttara. Getting rid of the desire is not that easy. Some people talk like nothing. I can get enlightened like tomorrow. Nothing. They have no idea what they are talking about. Even Venerable Anand had fallen into such a trap. That very desire for enlightenment. That's why in the commentaries they say, if you desire enlightenment so immensely, you are falling into the category called Vibhava Tanha. Vibhava Tanha. If you are desiring the enlightenment so deeply, that can happen. You are falling into a different trap. First Bhava Tanha, to go on, now you are desiring the opposite, to destroy. Attachment, the greatest enemy of this life, which never allows us to be happy and joyful, which never allows us to be contented with what we got, which is always directing our eyes to something that we never got, something we are yet to get. That's why a philosopher says, someone is given a pen which is as big as the Mount Everest, and for this pen he is given ink, the ink he is given, found in the four oceans, all these oceans. Oceanic ink given to him. And he is given a book. That book is this infinite sky. And he is asked, now start writing what you want. What you want in this life. With the mountain-like pen, with the ink from the oceans in the sky book, you start writing what you want, And he start writing. The philosopher says, the mountaineer's pen will be faded. All the waters in the oceans will be dried up, gone. And even this infinite sky will be over, finished. The book is gone, but still one more desire is there to write. Can never fulfill our desires. That's a never. That's something negative, totally negative. So, trying to fulfill the desire is our goal, but are we all going to end in being disappointed? That's what the meditators understand. That's why people come into meditation, because they know no matter what I get, I'm always unhappy, I'm always sad. More you get, more you are disappointed. At least the poor man can have some dream. What about when you have everything in your life? You are disappointed. That no matter what I have, what I get, I'm still not fulfilled. The famous dreaming about becoming nobody, not famous. We are dreaming about being famous. Right? Those people who look for fame, once they found it, they are totally frustrated with it, and they want to be like others without fame. Rich. What kind of troubles they go through to take care of the money, take care of what they got. And they might be looking for some simple life somewhere. Maybe. A king will never dream about a palace. Only a beggar will dream about a palace. Our dreams are nothing but the unfulfilled desires. Now, sometimes I am being questioned about the dreams. I saw such a dream. I am scared. Can you please explain to me that dream? I said, dream is a dream. Why you worry about a dream so much and forget about what is going on now, right now in your life? Your dream is nothing but, our dreams are our unfulfilled desires and hidden fears. The hidden, unexpressed, unknown fears come in the form of dreams. They are our thinking in the pictorial form. Our mind is continuously thinking. During the day, thinking is verbal. That same thinking happens during the night when we are asleep in the form of pictures, but it is just the same thing. And what do we think? Are we thinking about the reality, the present moment? No, we are thinking. If you want to think, you want to think about past or future. Thinking cannot happen in the present moment. That's something meditators understand. That's where the word comes, sati, the mindfulness, awareness. When the meditation masters ask you to be aware, to what are you paying attention to? The current moment, the present moment, whatever is going on. If he is asking you to be aware of your past or aware of your future, he is asking you to think about it. It is not awareness anymore, it is thinking. Thinking is always about the past or future. And in our dreams, also the same thing. It is about past or future. It is about unexpressed desires, or it is about the fears that are hidden within us. Desiring mind is the driving force behind, and that desiring mind is what is driving us from one life to another and make our lives miserable. That's why the Buddha repeatedly, Lord Buddha asking us, understand the true nature of what you are desiring. Be meditative of what you are desiring. Don't let the mind to enslave you. Be meditative of what you are desiring, then you know exactly what you are desiring. Once you understand what you are desiring, that understanding itself enough for you to have a little bit of letting go. And moreover, apply the characteristics, the true characteristics of the life. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent, suffering. Yeah? Forget about non-self. Nobody knows about non-self. Because we are all about self. People talk about non-self, they have no idea about non-self. Yeah? But we know, we can see very clearly the impermanent nature, changing nature. Now in this life we are experiencing it. Aren't we all getting old? Aren't we all getting on the path of becoming weaker, becoming fragile? We are on that path. It is a universal fact that we can see. That's what the Bodhisattva saw. That's what he saw even prior to his last birth as the Siddhartha Gautama. Once he was born as the name Makadeva, the king, a monarch. Makadeva. You have heard about this story. He saw one of his hairs, one singular hair, became silver color. The barber pulled it out and placed it on his palm. And then he started reflecting. Well, death has given me a knock on my head, showing me a singular hair of silver color, telling me my time is up, getting closer. So this is the time for me to renounce. This is the time for me to let go. What happened? He let go of all his powers, leadership, and gave the crown for the prince in waiting, and went to the forest to start practicing meditating. One singular hair. Now what's going on for us in this present day, in this society, as well as in our past, which is known to us? All the people who are coming closer to the departure, what are they doing? What is going to happen to us? Remember, this is a danger. This is going to happen to all and sundry. When we are getting older and older, our desires are getting younger and younger. That's a fact. It's a fact. If we are not aware, if we are not mindful, that's going to happen for all of us. Desires getting younger and younger. Ask yourself this question. I am not asking you to tell this out loud. Are you generous? I mean, your generosity. Were you more generous when you were young or now? In the younger days or now? I'm not going to ask to answer, okay? No need to ask. This is something I have seen even among monks. That's my society, right? Even among monks I have seen this. Elderly monks, when they are getting older and older, they become more and more attached. By right, it should be the other way around, right? Younger people must be more desirous, more attached, and the elderly people must be letting go. But our mind doesn't work like that. Our mind is bent upon giving us suffering, giving us misery. In our old age, not just these sicknesses, these weaknesses, these pains in our body, not just they are giving us misery. Our attachment is what is giving the biggest misery. Our attachment. But because that attachment is getting younger and younger as we are getting older and older. True or not? It's very true. That's why Buddha says, your desire is your biggest enemy. Biggest enemy. Your attachment is the greatest enemy that keep you always in misery. Got to be very careful. That's why it is very important for us to enter into meditation. Right? Enter into practice. Why? In the meditation we find this peace and happiness. We find this joy within us which is independent of anything in our life. One day, once you found this joy and get established in that joy and happiness, which is a byproduct of meditation, you will find, no matter my children are born, no matter my grandchildren are born, no matter I'm left alone in this world, I'm still happy, I'm still joyful. Isn't it a bliss? Yes. That's the independent joy. No matter what you lost, your happiness is there. It is not depending on anything. This is something for meditators, a privilege of meditators. That's why we are little by little, gradually, little by little, come into the meditation. So, otherwise we will be just like the other world, and just like, we cannot do just like that king, Makahadeva. We will be like others. When we are getting older and older, we are trying to go into councils, parliaments, memberships and everything. Yeah? What more we are looking for? Look at the parliament. I don't know, what is the name for the government you call? Parliament or what? Majority of them are young people or old people? You know what I'm talking now. Yeah? More and more power they are looking for. Yeah? They totally have forgotten. They have totally forgotten. Within 20 years' time, we are all gone. Totally forgotten. That's why we got to be very careful with ourselves. Yeah? Otherwise, we will be attached. We will be attached and we will not be able to be liberated from that attachment. Let me tell you a small story. There was a monk during the Buddha's time. Yeah? And this monk, a good monk, he's a pious one. He's someone who used to listen to the Buddha, even meditate, having a virtuous life. So a devotee, being pleased with this monk, offered him a robe. You know a robe, right? Do you know how it is prepared? It is not a one piece of cloth. It is a collection of pieces of cloth. It's like a paddy field sewn into together. So this is how a robe is made. For what? To make sure it is not monetarily valuable. Monetary value is not there. You cannot make any other dress out of this robe. Yeah? Nobody is, for nobody. I mean, nobody else in the world, this is a valueless cloth. It's a valueless cloth for anybody else in the world. Now this monk got this robe, a kasi, a robe from the cloth, the country called Kasi, yeah, in Benares. They have this particular cloth, very soft, so beautiful, but it is just a robe. When this monk got this robe, he liked this robe so much. He loved this robe so much, he did not have the heart to wear it. So he ordered it, kept it under the pillow. Under the pillow, the robe is there. This is what happened when we are too much attached to things. One of the devotees I had in Sri Lanka, that he said he had a new car, brand new car he got. He's a lawyer. Yeah. And he was so attached to this car. He has a garden in the house. He drive only around the garden. He never go out of the gate. When he wants to go to work, he take a taxi and go there. Not the car. Unnecessary attachment, right? Unnecessary attachment. Just the same way, this monk developed such an attachment. Now wherever he goes, he remembers the robe. Meditation, half robe. Dhamma talks, half the robe. The monk was getting old, robe is under the pillow. He was getting sick, getting weak, robe is under the pillow. And finally he passed away. Now where is the monk? Under the pillow, in the robe. A bug, born as a bug, is there. Pious monk, good monk, full of wholesome deeds. Pushing all the wholesome deeds to the backward, what came to the front and gave him that sad rebirth? The attachment. So Buddha is right when he says, tanha, attachment, craving, is your greatest enemy. It does not only destroy the happiness and peace in this life, it destroys the happiness and peace in the next life. Yeah? So better deal with it. It doesn't mean, remember, when I say deal with the tanha, it doesn't mean, okay, now the monk is asking me to throw everything away and go to the road and beg. No, I'm not. You are to keep what you earn, your house, your cars, your wealth, your jewelries, your properties, they are your wealth. But with the understanding, until I die, I am keeping them. Once I am dead, anybody can take. I say goodbye and go. Only until I die. That's the idea we have to take. With that idea, we are detached. Because we know this is temporary. This is for the time being. This is not forever. Otherwise, think about what you are deeply attached. There will be you. You will be there after your death. That's what happened. Now, is there anyone in your family likes, wish you to be there at your home after your death? Now let's say there's a shaman or a magician or some particular monk who can read about the past lives and future lives, what happens after death, come and tell you, your number of relatives who are departed ancestors are at home. What would you do? You will do anything and everything and spend thousands of dollars for what?
Send them to me.
In a bottle. Send them in a bottle to the ocean, maybe. Nobody likes us to come back. We don't like our ancestors to come back. So also for us. Now, when somebody is dead, what do we in this tradition? But I have seen this. They are burning houses, cars. Why they burn houses? Have you ever thought of this? Out of love? Yeah. May my ancestor, may my departed one have this house. I love that person so much. Have this house. No, please have this house and leave this house alone. That's what they say silently when they burn the house. Please have this car, leave alone this car. Out of fear. I'm not going to talk about that much. Yeah? But in Sri Lanka we have this tradition that when we get a dead body, get a coffin, yeah, to a cemetery or a crematorium, before we bury it or insert into the crematorium, we rotate that dead body 3 times. Around the burial pit or around the crematorium. Hindus, yeah, they have a better way. When they are taking a dead body to the cemetery, at the junction, they rotate 4 times. Have you ever thought of why they are doing? Our people, even our people never thought of why they are doing. They rotate. Of course, weeping, crying, don't leave me, yeah. Oh, I'm coming after you, bring me with you. Saying all this, rotate. Please don't come back. Never come back ever. To make sure you miss the road that they rotate. Yeah. How about the one who is sleeping, rotate and bring to the cemetery? He will forget, he will miss the road to back home. Nobody likes us to come back. How many of the people, I have sent many people by now, like rotating and sent them to the graveyard. I'm pretty sure I will be also sent like that. My disciples, maybe crying also, will send me to the crematorium or to the cemetery, having rotated.
Now with GPS.
Yeah.
When you 4 times at least you can lost weight, you will come back.
Nobody likes us to be coming back. And if you come back to your home, to what you are attached, do you think you will come back as a devata, divine being? No. You will come back as a ghost. Yeah, very low kind of ghost. And when you are coming back, your son-in-law is using your car and your daughter-in-law is wearing your jewelries. How do you feel? You are in misery. You are bound to be full of misery. You are bound to be full of misery, and you cannot even show your anger now. Yeah, you can shout, they cannot hear. And you are in such a weak state, only experiencing the misery. That's why Buddha says, always be ready to let go. Make yourself prepare for it. Enjoy the life, enjoy what you have. Nothing, no harm, but don't be attached. That's the difference thing. There's a great difference in this. Enjoying what you have, what you earned, that's your right earnings. Yeah. There's nothing harm in it, but don't be attached. That's the difference. How do you know that you are attached to something? If something goes wrong, how much you are disturbed, how much you are crying, how much you are weeping, shedding tears, that much you are attached. That's how you know that how much you are attached to it. But if the things go wrong, like if something goes wrong to your neighbor, you can go and give a preaching, Dhamma. Yeah? This is impermanent, this is bound to change. But if something goes wrong to you, can you do the same preaching to yourself? If you cannot, you are attached to it. You are disturbed by that alteration that happened to things that you love. Of course, when something goes wrong with the neighbors, you can always preach. Easy to preach, easy to give talks. But not to the things that you are attached to. That's how we know that we are attached to it. You forget Dhamma, you forget meditation, you forget impermanence, everything. Attachment, the greatest enemy. Now, for the Siddhartha Gautam, another small anecdote and finish this talk. When he was a prince, the story is that he never witnessed an old age, sickness and death. Somehow his father stopped his approach to these sad finale of the human life, old age, sickness and death. But it so happened that somehow he witnessed this. When he witnessed this old age, sickness and death, what did he do? He inferred it to himself. Am I also going to be old, sick and dead? His charioteer affirmed it, confirmed it. As he saw these triple characteristics of the universal characteristics of the life, he did something that we never do. He starts seeing the world through impermanence. He saw everything as impermanent. He saw everything as suffering. When he starts seeing through these glasses of impermanence and suffering, what happened? He was no more attached to that. Not that he renounced the world. What happened was the world was renounced for him. It is just like I am holding on to some pieces of rocks, thinking that these are precious gems, very valuable gems, precious gems. That's my perspective, that's my notion. So I am holding on to it, with so much of attachment. Now somebody comes and tells me, these are just colored pieces of glasses. They are not valuable at all. And that person proves it to me that these are not valuable. Now, once it is proven, do I have to force myself to throw them away? No, my fist will be unclenched and they will be thrown, they will be fallen on their own. I don't even have to put any effort for that. That's the exact same thing happened for the Prince Siddhartha Gautam. When he starts seeing the world through the eyes of impermanence and suffering, as everything that get old one day, get into sicknesses and finally die, he starts seeing the world like that. He starts to see everything like that, in that vision. Then he found, what is there to be attached? Nothing to be attached. Sooner or later, everything is going to vanish. Even his own child that took birth on that very day, going to be old and die one day. Only difference is the time. Time is the only thing that we have. Aren't we? Everything else we think we have are not really ours. If we really look deep into it, the time is the only thing we have. The time. And that time was so slipping through our fingers. Losing it. We are losing the time. That's what the Bodhisattva saw. The difference is only about the time. Or else, somebody dies today and somebody dies tomorrow. Somebody dies next year. Somebody dies 10 years after this. The difference is only the time. Otherwise, everything is going to be end as old, as sick and dead. The world was renounced for him. He is no more attached to the world. What else he can do other than going into the forest and looking for a solution for this universal misery of the human life? That's the only thing he has to do now. That's the only thing he can do now. That's why he decided to go looking for that solution. He did not even have to think about renouncing. He has already renounced after seeing the world as impermanent suffering and non-suffering. Yeah? That's why Buddha asked us to practice on these triple characteristics. These are the characteristics that we apply when we are practicing vipassana. These are the characteristics that we apply when we are to practice any sort of meditation, as well as when we are thinking about Dhamma. Yeah? When we are even thinking about Dhamma, these are the characteristics that we are to nourish within us. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. It helps you for this psychological let go. Remember, letting go is always about psychological. The greatest form of dana is psychological letting go. Now, about the dana, the greatest form of dana happens within. Buddha says, dana has already happened if you understood that nothing belongs to you. So, what is to give even? Nothing belongs to me. I own nothing. This nothing belongs to me, I own nothing. This idea itself is there in the form of dana, letting go. Also, letting go happens when we apply the notion, the idea that it is impermanent, changing, momentary, and suffering. When we apply these notions, characteristics to whatever experience we are having, we won't be attached to that experience. Yeah? And there is another thing. To what we are attached. Now you can say, I am attached to this house, I am attached to that person, I am attached to this car. You can name 1,001 things that you are attached to. Actually, you are not attached to the person, you are not attached to the house. You are attached to the feeling. The feeling is what you are attached. That's why the dependent origination, there comes this bondage. Vedana paccaya tanha. Tanha, this attachment, craving is for what? Vedana, feeling. The feeling is what we are attached to. Once the feeling is gone, attachment gone. Right? When you found that your house is no more giving you that happy feeling, when you even say, this is my house, you don't feel proud, you don't feel good. That means you want to sell this and go to a new house. That feeling is gone. Right? When somebody says, I'm in love with you, do you trust that person? You can trust that right now maybe this person is in love with me, but not tomorrow. A year after, it won't last long, it won't be there. We trust hate, but we don't trust love. If somebody says, I hate you, even after a lifetime, you will still remember that and say, oh yeah, he's someone who hates me. Yeah? But if someone says, I love you, prove it. Prove it. Prove it that you love me. So put a sign there. Yeah? Officiate it. Put a sign there so that even if you don't love me, you cannot go away. We don't trust love because we know that feeling is not permanent, eternal, everlasting. It is to the feeling that we are bound to. Once the feeling gone, no more attached. So in this world, no matter what you have, actually, ultimately what we are attached to is that feeling. That's what the dependent origination says. So how to get rid of this attachment? Observe that feeling as something impermanent, something changing, something momentary. Also observe that if I am attached to this impermanent feeling, I am bound to be in suffering, nothing else. Not in joy, not in bliss, but in suffering. I am bound to be. That's what the Buddhism teaches us in the idea of letting go. Alright? Sadhu.